نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. One of the topics that people, when they start learning on their own in the modern world, is Taqleed. Taqleed means to follow someone who you consider higher in authority or master in the subject, and take his words, his teachings on face value. But there's a condition that when that expert or specialist mentions something, you have to have that trust on him due to his credibility. The credentials are such that you have no choice but to accept that. And this is true for all the sciences. You do not ask a doctor to provide you with the evidence about the prescription he has prepared for you. When it comes to religion, especially in the modern time, people have lack of trust for the fact that they haven't got even the faintest idea how to verify someone's knowledge. Because to do that, you have to have certain basic understanding of the subject. We don't even know what are the good institutions in the world, the best centers in the world, where if someone is graduated from on the religious sciences, theology, fiqh, hadith, tafsir, would be considered or classed as a decent scholar. It's like the Cambridge and Oxfords and Howards of Islamic sciences. Obviously there are implications for that. Since we don't know, we can't verify. Even if we find out that someone is graduate from a big madrasa in India or in Pakistan or in Middle East, we don't know whether that madrasa is really a standard good institution for people to go and learn from, or is it one of those common institutes that are here and there, self-acclaimed scholars teaching there. So it poses a question that how to verify, or should we stop following anyone and do our own research? Now, on one hand, it is something which may be appealing to modern mind, because this is how they have been nurtured, how they have been treated, how they have been trained and made to believe that you can do it. And so with that, they try everything. The problem there is, though, even if they have mental capacity and intellectual capacity and capabilities to do so, they don't find time for that. They're so busy with their own specialties. For example, a student hasn't got time to study his own bits in the time he has got in a day. How would he then spend time in learning or pursuing his career to explore the religious sciences? It is not easy, and one has to invest a lot of time and effort in that, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice from him and from his family. So it's not easily done. That's why it's not very common to be master on both sides. Our day is from, say, 7 to 5 or even 6 or 7. So good 12 hours, 10 hours are gone. And then to get back to normalcy with exhaustion and stress at work or studies, one needs extra few hours to become sane again, both physiologically and psychologically. So then to spend an hour or two in a day, even if you're the most dedicated person out there, it would take a long time to investigate and identify. And when scholars have already done it for us, why should we be bothered? So I think the first problem is that we need to realize that we have got limitations. And the dilemma is there's so many people who claim to be scholars and they are not. So how do we then find out the right source? So that's one problem. what it has led to see that many people who abuse this position, they call themselves scholars and they are not, and looking at their practices, some of their ugly characters when they dealt with people, it made common men question following them at all. But when it comes to religion, we need to understand the practical issues. These are the practical problems. But what is the reality of taqleed? What is the reality of following someone? As I said, we have no choice but to follow someone in some field that we haven't mastered. It could be day-to-day stuff. It could be about a plumber who we have to trust whatever he tells us, a mechanic, a dentist. We have to trust because we can't live by being specialists in all of those areas. We just go by their advice on certain matters. Now, they are clear-cut, basic understanding of each of those subjects, each of those sciences or technical jobs, that we can really make good decisions without having to delve into too much details. And that's where the common understanding comes in, and that is very useful. Same goes with religion. So there are basic essentials which everyone is required to know, and everyone by necessity knows. Even many non-Muslims know. Something which is very clear-cut, categorical. You don't need to ask anyone. You don't even need to seek advice for that. You don't have to follow their advice, even if they give you one. So you just go and investigate on your own and find out, and it's easily accessible, and there's no difference of opinion, same view everywhere. You just have to open a decent book and you would know. For example, 5 prayers a day, fasting in the month of Ramadan, being nice to your parents, never lie, don't steal, don't fornicate, things like that. They're very clear-cut do's and don'ts, which are essentials. Likewise, for creedal points, many of them are very clear, so people understand the belief system at the basic level. That's where you do not need, and you're not allowed to be following anyone. For example, you can't come up with the idea, oh, actually I followed this person who's now claiming to be prophet. You can't do that, because this is from essentials of deen. You have to investigate and identify on your own and not follow anyone who claims. But when it comes to secondary issues, tertiary issues, the issues which are trivial, which are matter of legitimate difference of opinion, there is, more than one way of interpretation of such hadith or Quranic ayat, then it's perfectly fine to have more than one opinion by the scholars based on their exertion and in-depth study of the topic. And then when they have more than one opinion, so are we as common men allowed to follow this or that opinion. Not to follow their whims and desire, but rather to stick to one and then take whatever is safer and accessible. They go and ask the scholar would tell them something, they would just follow it without picking and choosing. This is called Taqleed. Taqleed means to put a garland around the neck of someone higher in authority and make them your guide, your mentor, your leader, someone who is taking you on the path, someone who is driving you. In the whole train, there's one person driving, everyone is sitting quiet at the back without giving them any clues where he stops, where he carries on, at what speed. He knows the bit, we trust him. So in the trivial matters of Sharia, this is how it goes. This is common understanding. There's no two-way about it. The matter which is differed upon, which could be seen in two different lights, one has to have difference of opinion. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's famous incident about Bani Qurayza, hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, and others as well, highly authentic. After the Battle of Trench, he, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sent the group of people, the Sahaba, to go and pray Asr in the vicinity of Qurayza, the Jewish tribe who betrayed. And they were supposed to pray Asr. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's words are that none of you should pray except in the vicinity of Qurayza. So they were tired. It was a whole month worth of fighting with enemy, seas, lack of food, exhaustion for animals and people. And they were supposed to go there. So they left, but they couldn't make it by Asr. And it was the time when Asr prayer is about to end. The sun is about to set. So the Sahaba divided into two groups. Some of them said, let's just pray Asr here, because we are going to miss it. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not going to be happy for missing prayer, because Quran is clear on that. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has instructed us to pray on time, all the time. This is his daily, teaching. Now, the other group say, but in this situation, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it very clear that don't pray except in the vicinity of Bani Qurayza. So we are going to pray there. But others say, yeah, but what he meant was to be there before the end of Asr time. Be there quick. But we couldn't make it. It wasn't up to us. It was just, we were so exhausted and tired, we couldn't walk fast. We had quite a few people to go with. And likewise, the animals were exhausted. We go, no, we are going to pray there. So a group of people prayed locally like there, and they didn't miss their Asr prayer. Another group of people, the Sahaba, they missed their prayer. They prayed right after around Isha time. When they came back after the battle was sorted out, whatever happened, the expedition finished, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked about this scenario by both sides, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard the idea behind it, and he said, asabtum, you both have done the right thing. So now you could see one statement could mean two things very clearly. Like what Allah says in Quran, for the women who were divorced, وَلِلْمُطَلَّقَاتِ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. 3 periods, 3 time spans they have to spend. So what is that time span? Is that the period of purity, or is the period of hayd, menses? In Arabic grammar, or in Arabic dictionary or lugha, it means both. And there are many words in Arabic language which mean one and its opposite. So that is why you would find Sahaba to now, there's 2 opinions, whether it's meaning period or it means hayd, the menses. And there is implication for that. Anyway, so Quran has quite a few examples like this. For example, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ, pray and do sacrifice of animal. So is that addressed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we know, specifically for him, or is for whole ummah? Obviously, it could be both. One can interpret it like this, or by extension is for everyone. But one would say it's specifically to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam alone. Then the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would come. I would say, you know what? If you don't do the sacrifice, don't come to our prayer. It's a warning against it, suggesting that it is must for those who have the means to do so. So this is how scholars would look at things, and you have to have vast understanding of Quranic ayat, and you can cross-reference them. And likewise, you should be able to look at the hadith, a good chunk of hadith, so that you can come up with the ruling. You can't just take one hadith and run away and then make a decision on this, because there has been abrogation, there has been situational things, there has been context to the issue, maybe specific to the individual. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had more than one way and all okay. So how would one know without following someone who is master in the subject? So the bottom line is taqleed, following someone else and depending on their knowledge without questioning where they got it from is not just okay, it's a must. Without this, no one can live their life. At some stage of their life, they have to do that. Yeah, there could be a time when they become master and they come to a level where they become mujtahid. Mujtahid is someone who leads, who is to be followed. So like 4 imams and many other imams, actually there were more than 300 imams who were followed by people. Many Sahaba were like this. So even today there are many scholars who, mashallah, have got a lot of knowledge, so we can follow them. But common people, they can only follow someone. They have to. And Allah says in Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you do not know. And this ayah came twice. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you do not know. So if you do not know means you're not knowledgeable, so you ask the people who know it. This is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the Quran, what if they came to those people before spreading the news who have knowledge to do istinbat, to do the assessment and analysis of that, and they could have taken the ruling to help others, that would have been better. So this is how they should be doing, rather than making it on their own and then running away. You don't do that. There are many hadiths of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about this, and there's almost no difference of opinion on this. You may find in the last 1400 years there's maybe one scholar or two scholars who would say taqleed is not permissible. You would not find anyone saying that other than one or two, as I said. So the Ummah agreed on the taqleed of Imams. It is something which is, as I said, completely it's a common sense. You can't have everyone to be expert in the topic, in the subject. And I put it to you, you try and do that and then master it after that, only one topic, and then we have a chat about that. It would take you a good long time. You would have to trust someone for the translation. You would have to trust someone who would teach you the language. You would have to trust someone to say the hadith is sahih. How could you do all of that in your small life that we all have with the busy schedule and everything? That is why it is extremely important to realize the boundaries of taqleed is matters of legitimate difference of opinion, which are open to more than one interpretation. Not everything, not about aqidah, not about fara'id. Fard and haram are not understood through taqleed. They are very clear. Aqidah is not understood through taqleed. You just essential aqidah. You just know it by necessity. You have to learn and know it and do your own research and ask the teachers to clarify that. But once you know it, then you just make it your own point. Whereas the subsidiary matters, the issues where there is legitimate difference of opinion, you have no choice but to follow someone. Whoever you follow, even if you feel that I am not following anyone, you are actually following that person who told you not to follow anyone. So there's a group of people who call themselves غير مقلدون, those who are non-followers. Actually, they are followers of someone of the current time. How would they verify a hadith? Or they say Sheikh so-and-so said the hadith is sahih. So you're following someone. If you say, Sheikh Imam Bukhari said the hadith is sahih, so you're following Imam Bukhari. Where does it say in hadith and follow this hadith or that hadith? Which hadith is sahih? How do you know? There's no criteria for sahih hadith mentioned in hadith. This is man-made criteria. Imams made it, and it's very, very robust and very good. This is how it should be, very logical, very sensible. I agree on that. So there's no way one can live without taqleed, and there are many evidence for that, and I've given that in certain talks in Urdu as well. But what I would do, I would send you a link to a very decent article by one of my teachers, and inshallah that we will benefit from that. May Allah give us tawfiq.